All right. Okay, so today I'm going to cover network automation day number 2, okay, or part 2. So it's a continuation from our previous class. So if you remember, previously we discussed about APIs, the two types of APIs. One is northbound APIs and southbound APIs. We discussed about REST APIs. We discussed about HTTP and HTTP status codes. We discussed about data language like XML, JSON. Okay, there's one more thing called as YML. We also discussed about data modeling and its protocol. So under data modeling, we had Yang, which is best alternative for SNMP. Okay, and its protocol that we discussed were netconf, network configuration, and restconf. Okay, so these are few things we discussed in our part A. So previous class was about all this discussion. So today I'm going to discuss the next part of network automation. Okay, so we have something called as Cisco EEM. Okay, we are going to discuss little bit on Python theory. I'm going to show you some of Python script to automate network device, and also I'm going to show you Ansible. Okay, there's one more network automation software. Okay, so part B will be these many topic, and I guess we are good enough with lot of things. If there is something left over, I'll take it in the next class. Okay, so let's start with Cisco EEM. EEM is nothing but embedded event manager. Okay, and I'm going to give a lot of assignment from this. It's fun, it's very easy to configure, so I'll give you a lot of assignment. Maybe you can do it in the weekend, you can try how does it work. So you don't need any third party resources for EEM. Your Cisco iOS itself is capable of having some script, and you can do kind of automation, not the automation of configuring something or pulling the backup, but different type of automation. If something happens onto your device, you can schedule some task. If let's say one best example would be if interface goes down, right? So as soon as interface goes down, what is the default behavior of an iOS box? You will get a syslog message saying fa0/0 went down. Now you can write some script stating that if you see this kind of syslog, do the next step or next action. Might be you wanna do no shutdown immediately, right? So there are some certain tasks which you can automate within iOS itself. Now, when we talk about the external automation, that is when you are configuring VLANs, you're configuring OSPF, you're configuring a lot of things on the Cisco devices, or if you want to pull the show running configuration, save it somewhere, or do a lot of the day-to-day automation, then you have your Python or Ansible or the other frameworks, like you have Nornir, you have Salt, you have Puppet. So majorly we use Python as well as Ansible. Okay, there are a couple of them, and there are a couple of them getting added up as days advance. So this is an emerging topic nowadays. So in your CCNP, this is uh, these are the few topics that's been added up as a description or as a theoretical topic, not a practical topic. Okay, but we are doing some of the practical, so we know how does it look like. So let me start with the first topic, that is EEM, Manager, Embedded Event Manager. You open up your Cisco box, write some script, and just wait for the script to run. Okay, it's very simple. So let's go to that topic so I can show you, and might be during weekend you can try those scripts yourself. Okay. So the first script that I want to discuss is regards to syslog event. We all are aware what is syslog messages on an iOS box, right? If an interface goes down, I get an syslog message. If a OSPF agency goes down, I get an syslog message saying so and so neighbor went down, right? If I get some spike in the CPU utilization, I'll get a syslog message. And depending upon these syslog messages, I can write some script, EEM kind of script, to do the necessary step. Let's say if interface went down, so what is your action here? You will make a no shutdown, right? If a agency goes down, what are you going to expect? What do you want your iOS to respond? Might be you wanna email to the technical team saying that OSPF went down, right? And then they will log in and then they see what went wrong, or they'll do the necessary troubleshooting. So you can do kind of automation. So let's see in the case of syslog event. Okay, so let's say when you see the syslog message with this kind of error, interface went down. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to write your EEM. So you will start your event manager with a name. Okay, this is nothing but it's a name that you are assigning to this script. What is the syslog going to look like or read? Okay, so it's something it's gonna see in this way. Okay, and then you can set your different command. Now they are under actions. Okay, so four thing is going to happen immediately. Your script is gonna see that there is something uh, matching this event manager. It's going to go to enable mode, going to configuration mode. It's going within the interface mode and put a no command or no shutdown command. Okay, so this is a very small script. If you just see the outcomes of it, so how do you try to recreate this on your CCNP or CCI lab, right? So just open up one router, put the EEM script, shut down the interface and see what happens. Okay, so very simple thing. So to demonstrate this, I have also put the debug so that I know how the script is responding to. So you need to run the debug and just put the interface into shutdown mode. As soon as you put the interface as shutdown mode, a syslog message gets generated. Okay, so how is your syslog message look like? It will look like this: line protocol went down. And for this, you have written your EEM script. So what is happening? So you will go to enable state, you will go to conf t, you will go to the next actions that you have assigned in your event manager. You will go to interface, you will put into no shutdown, and that's all. Your event manager has done its work. So these are called as EEM scripts. Okay, event manager. Based on your events, you can easily do that. Similar way, I have one more script for OSPF agency. Let's say if the OSPF neighbor goes down, okay, let's say neighbor 1.1.1 went down, and you have written your event script. So what you're expecting? You go to enable, you you enable the debug. Okay, and the action number 3 is to send an email. Okay, might be this email will be to your technical team, or might be to the manager, or might be to the customer. If something is happening, if the neighbor is going down, so you have written your event manager script. Okay, and accordingly the email will be sent. So you can see I have written my email. So basically make sure your iOS router has internet connection. Okay, otherwise the email will not be taken out. So you need to have internet connection so that email can be taken out. But don't worry, in the case of lab, you can still practice it. If you see here, as soon as you recreated the scenario, you just put. So basically what I did is I have two routers, R1 and R2. Okay, I created my EEM script for OSPF agency over in R1, and I put this as shutdown. So basically what happens if I put this as shutdown, I lose my OSPF neighborship. And if OSPF neighborships are going down, I am expected to get my syslog message. As soon as I get syslog message, my EEM get triggered up, right? So that's what I have done here. My second router, I have shut down the interface. So once I have received the syslogs, I can see what is happening. My router is going to enable the debug. It's going to send the email now. Let's see how does email we forwarded. So you can see the SMTP is trying to get connected. Okay, though I'm not having internet connection on my iOS router in my GNS lab, so it said that it tried to connect but it's getting failed. That's because of no internet. If you have internet, it's good as telling that it was trying to send an email. So this is once again a partial kind of automation with respective to syslog. Okay, we can also write EEM apart from syslog messages. Let's say based on the live CLI events. Let's say you have a user XYZ. He just log into this iOS box and he type show interface. Okay, so based on CLI command, we can write some EEM script saying that if someone triggers this command, do so and so action number 1, go to enable, go to show run configuration. Might be you can exclude the irrelevant command. So you can set certain actions here for this command. So if he input some command, you have written your EEM script, and he will be only getting visibility to those actions only. He will not get the complete output. Okay, so that's called as CLI events based on your CLI commands. So let's say your EEM script look like this. So you're setting a name to the script. You say the pattern if someone is trying with show run. Okay, sync yes is nothing but from here onwards your the event script gets initiated. Okay, so as soon as sync yes is nothing but that your script is getting started. So what is he expected? The action number 1 CLI command is enable. Action 2 CLI command is for show run command. He is being automatically forced to trigger this command, show run pipe exclude interface. Action number 3 put CLI result. Action number 4 set some code. This code is nothing but it says the end of the script. Okay, now let's see how the output would look like if someone is trying with show run. So let's say now the user is typing show run. Okay, so as soon as he types show run, he will see this building configuration. Now let's see what happens. Your script is going to get triggered. Okay, and how do I able to see this? That's because I enable the debugs. So when I enable the debug, I can see what is happening. So I said action number 1 action number 2. Okay, and similar way I will have different actions now. So you will see this is the output, because you had given show run exclude interface, right? So that's why he got the output of this. So you give a try. You see what happens when you write your EEM script with exclude command, and what are the behavior that you have been uh, getting it on your screen. Okay, so you can change any other command. Might be you want to try with something else, you can try that instead of this. If you want to try with something else, you can try that. Okay, so this is based on CLI events. If you have some CLI commands, you can go ahead. Now there's something else which is called as interface event. Interface event in the sense those counters specially. Okay, based on counters you can write your EEM script. So here you can see it's based on the TX load and the RX load. Okay, so based on this I can write my EEM script. I can say that if this exceed the threshold 10 bar 25 or 10 bar 255, okay, I need to do something, or I need to achieve something out of my EEM script. So I can write my script. Okay, so let's see what did I write, or what did I define. So over on that interface I have put the load interval. Okay, so that I can test it. And what is my EEM script look like? So I have set a name. Okay, I'm going to set the interface name. I'm going to set the parameter. If my RX load is going above 10, okay, and what is the pole interval? Action number 1, I set that priority information message saying interface overload I want to see on my device. Okay, so basically what happens in my iOS, whenever my interface f0/0 is exceeding the threshold, okay, I want a automated syslog message saying that interface overloaded. Now what is the benefit of having syslog message? Might be you are having your external syslog server UDP 514, right? Let's say you are maintaining a server for external syslog message. Might be you're having your ticketing system integrated with syslog messages, and you get a automatic ticket saying that this interface have exceeded, right? So it's all achievable by a simple script without spending on any other things. And how do you demonstrate this? You can initiate a ping. You can give a very high size of data. Okay, you can send it for multiple repeat. Now what happens? The load increases. Okay, the TX RX on an interface increases because you're sending a dummy packet with lot of packet size, and also with lot of repeat counts. So this is for testing purpose. Okay, otherwise how do you think your EEM script will also get into action? So that's why. So as soon as you run the ping command, your interface is going to get choked. It's going to it's increasing the threshold of 10 bar 255, and now your EEM script just execute. Okay, so once it execute, you have your syslog message on the iOS. Might be you're taking care of all the syslog message by having an external syslog server. You have ticketing tool, and you know how it works, right? Similar way, there is something called as this scheduling events. Okay, so you can schedule some task. Let's say every 60 minute or every 24 hours you want automatic write memory command to be happening on all your iOS boxes. Let's think it as a scheduling task. I created my EEM script. I gave it a name. I set the timer. Okay, I set the timer. I set the action commands now. So for my action 1 CLI command, I first go to the enable mode. My action 2 CLI command is write memory. This is what I wanted every 60 seconds or 60 minutes. Okay. And then I want a information message to be displayed saying that configuration has been saved. So this is my EEM script based on scheduling every X minute or hours or day, depends. Okay. To see this in action, make use of the debug commands, and you can see the things happening. You will go to enable, you go to automatically go to the right memory, and then finally you will get your action 3 saying that configuration has been saved. Okay, this is very important from a certification point of view as well. You would be given this kind of script. Might be they will give you 4 different scripts, A, B, C, D, and they'll ask you which one is in a right format. Okay, so you need to know the right way of writing EEM. So try 1 or 2 times on this GNS. Okay, open up any box, go to configuration mode, put this command, and shut down the interface. You know how to do this because we have done the toughest part already. Now these are the easiest part, which is easy to do and test it. Okay, so give a try for 1 or 2 EEM script, and you will know what are the right syntax or right format to write them. Okay, so you always remember these are some tricky things. So these are one where you define your actions. This is where you define the name. Okay, this is where you define or you schedule it for X minute or X hours. Okay, apart from the CLI, apart from the events or whatever we discussed, the EM is also capable of other activities. So if you get time, go to the event applet and go to event and put a question mark. So you can see you can have different EM script based on different tasks. Okay, you can have application specific event, CLI event, config, counter, environment, interface, iOS watchdog, IPSLA. I also have one example for IPSLA. Okay, we know what is IPSLA and how do we configure, right? There's something called as tracking of the first ISP and then moving to say. So we can also set EEM for IPSLA. I can say that if my track 1 goes down, okay, because syslog is going to get generated as soon as tracking 1 goes down, and I can set my EM script saying that if something goes down, go to track 1, make it no shutdown, and so and so. Okay, we can set some script. I have one example which you can also give a try. So what else does EM works? It is for resource redundancy, routing, so a lot of things that you can make use of. Okay, and yes, this is also very important from certification. When I say that A, B, C, D, you can see none is nothing but manually run policy event. So if you see none, don't think that it's a wrong command. It's also a part of the script. It depends about it depends on your requirement. If your EM script needs none, might be you can also include. So don't take it as a wrong format or something. So that's why I have put this question mark, so you know the different things that EM is capable of running. Okay, under action. So under action, you can have your add, append, break, CLI, CNS event, comment, context, continue, counter. So lot of options. Okay, so we were using with CLI commands. It was easy for me to say action 1.0 for CLI command enable. Okay, and then go to action 2.0 CLI, go to conf t. Okay, and do the next command. So that's because of this one. So you have other things which you can give a try. Okay, and here is my IPSLA and EEM script. So you know what is IPSLA? It's uh, for monitoring the device behaviors, or the to track the ISPs. If one ISP go down, you have the second one coming up, or you can also monitor the services of your Cisco iOS box with the help of IPSLA. Okay, so in the case of IPSLA, it's just a 2 to 3 lines of command. You are setting some frequency, okay, and you're starting the IPSLA, whether you're starting it for forever or for one day, or for 24 hours. Okay, so this is your IPSLA configuration. And then you are enabling the IPSLA tracking on, let's say you're tracking your ISP1. Okay, so this is the command to enable tracking. Now let's say the ISP1 goes down. Now you need your engineers to log in and do the job, right? But however, with the help of EEM script, we can automate it. I define my EEM applet manager. I set my tracking on tracking number one, and I put my action now. Okay, so as soon as syslog message, my action one is nothing but to give a syslog message saying IPSLA is down. Okay, and what is my action number two? Action number two is to send an email, to the NOC team, or a level 3 engineer, saying that so and so IPSLA is not receiving the echo replies anymore, and so that your engineers can start looking into this. So that's how you integrate IPSLA with EEM. Similar way, we also tried OSPF agency with EM. So you can integrate multiple things, and you can automate certain things from the iOS box of a point of view. Okay, so this was EEM. You have few scripts which you can give a try in the weekend. So let's move on to the next topic, that's Python. Okay, so we are talking about automation. So we discussed about APIs in the previous class. We discussed about EEM script, and now we are talking about Python. Okay, now how are these all different? So let's say in the case of API is a application uh, uh, talking to your Cisco boxes, okay, on these API protocols like REST APIs or HTTP. So we make use of HTTP for communication between, you have your iOS boxes, you have your GUI dashboard, might be DNAC or SD-WAN vManage. So they're talking on APIs. We call it as API, and API is nothing but internally they are having HTTP. In the case of EEM, it's an internal feature of iOS. It's internally available. We don't have to install, neither we need to have any third party support, or we don't need any third party installation. It's within the iOS. Okay, now what about Python, or where does this Python or Ansible is running? So these Python and Ansible are running on those legacy boxes, like let's say 1850 is a Cisco box, let's say we have 2750, let's say 3750. There are a lot of legacy boxes, low end routers and switches, which don't have internal automation privileges, or it doesn't have any APIs, or it doesn't have EEM, or it doesn't have uh, any Python within the software. Okay, you might be aware that nowadays these Nexus boxes, they have inbuilt Python, right? They are also capable of running APIs. So automating Nexus box or Meraki box or these controllers is very simple with the help of APIs. But when we talk about these legacy boxes, they are just garbage. If you don't automate them in either way, then they are just a piece of devices kept in the rack, and your human or the engineer intervention is required all the time for automating, right? So with the help of Python and Ansible, we can call it as third party softwares. Okay, third party softwares, and we can integrate these Python and Ansible over on these boxes to do n number of job. It can be a simple show run configuration. Let's say I need to see the show run configuration of these 100 of boxes. Okay, or I have 10,000 of devices in my access layer or in the distribution layer. Okay, simple command. Might be otherwise you have to log into individual boxes to see the show serial number, right? Or show inventory or show clock or show version. Might be you have to go towards every devices. So with the help of these third party softwares, Python, Ansible, we can do the basic day to day operation. Let's say I get a requirement where all these boxes were pointing towards a to the syslog server on 1.1.1, but now this server is outdated or end of life, and your management has introduced a new server on this IP, and you just want to go to all the 1,000 devices and make the changes. You delete this and add new. Now, what do you think is your approach? Do you think in 2020 we are gonna log into 10,000 devices, remove the command, and add the new one? So that's not we see in 2020 or anything in the upcoming years. Okay, the things are getting automated. So you write the script, you push the script, it will hit all the 1,000 or 10,000 devices. It's going to delete this and add the new server. Okay, so we can do everything, all the configuration that we were been doing from scratch, developing a data center, to any day-to-day activities like monitoring a very small 2-3 lines of configuration push, router upgrade, router reboot, or a server package installation. We can do it all over on automation. Okay, so the important thing which I wanted to tell here is APIs are on STTP, or we have STTPS for security, or in the case of EEM, it's a inbuilt feature on the iOS. If they have, you can run it. If they don't have, then you don't have EEM support. What about these Python and Ansible, which are the third party softwares, which I said on these legacy boxes they don't have? So how do you think we integrate them? We have SSH or we have telnet. Okay, so using these two protocol, we can integrate Python. Now you might think that if you overall check all the three method, Python and Ansible is one such method which works on SSH and telnet, and almost every network devices are working on SSH or telnet. We know that telnet is not a best practice, but devices are capable of running SSH at least, right? So that's why Python Ansible is very popular when compared with APIs and EEM. EEM has its own plus and minus. That means it's very limited to its own usage. You cannot do a lot of automation with EEM. So I can compare API with Python and Ansible. APIs, we can talk about the core devices or these overlay technologies, but all your distribution switches, access layer switches, it's using Python and Ansible, where you do not have these APIs features. You only are left with SSH, right? So we will do one or two scripts. We will see how it works. Okay, these are some popular Python network automation modules. We call it as module. Okay, so might be this has been written and submitted by full stack engineer XYZ. Okay, let's say this has been written and contributed to the Python community by the full stack engineer ABC. Okay, so these are all belonging to some or other people who are a full stack engineer. full stack Python engineer. Now, as a network engineer, we cannot enter into this Python industry, write a 300 or bunch of line and define them. So already there are full stack engineers who have done their contribution to the Python community. So Python is a open source, or I can say it's a free. It's something like your Android, right? You might have any sorts of smartphone, from very basic smartphone to very expensive smartphone. Do you develop the app for those, or you develop Android security or version? There are engineers, there are full stack Android developers who have done a lot of contribution to Android is a open source, if you remember, right? So there are engineers who are doing the work. It might be it's their passion, might be they are being paid, or might be they do it for might be for some freelancing. We never know. Similar way, in even in the case of Python, there are a lot of developers who have done and contributed. So we are just relying on their work. Okay. So let's say if I get a requirement from a company XYZ, and they ask me to create 10 VLANs, okay, 10 VLANs on their newly set up data center, which have like 500 network boxes. I have multiple options now. If I'm good at Netmiko, I'll take Netmiko, I'll write my script, I'll test it, because testing is the first step, and then I'll put into the customer production environment and I'll execute that. Okay. So that should be the approach. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to know or you don't need to have everything in one single script. These are different packages. Okay. So basically telnet library can do pretty much what the other modules can do, or others can be superior in other ways. Might be they are faster, might be they are multi-processing, or might be they do parallel connection. Whereas if you know, Python works one after one. So let's say I have 10 devices, 1.1.1, 2.2.2.2, 3.3.3.3 till 10.10.10. So how does Python work is, it will first hit the first device, it will do the job, whatever the script is. Then it will go to the second one, it will do its job. It goes to third, and so finally you can just expect that there will be a lot of time for Python to work, right? It depends on module also. If you have telnet and paramiko, they work one after one. In case of Netmiko, you can achieve multi processing. That means you can run the connection, or you can run the script in a parallel way. Okay. So you have your first device getting configured, the second device at the same time, and third device. So in this approach, the duration for execution also gets improvised. Okay. You don't let's say you took like 2 hours for configuring 100 devices. Might be now you can do it within 30 minutes on the same 100 devices. So that's why the modules just went on improvising. Okay. It went improvising. So you have this Nornir, which is very advanced, very popular. It can do faster. The job processing is faster when compared with all the previous ones. Okay. So that's why you don't need to have all of them in one script. It's up to you. Whichever you think is good, whichever you think can do the job, use it and get it going. Okay. So I have few scripts with me. One script is from the first module, that's called as telnet library. So let me show you how it runs actually. So let's say I copy this is my first script. Okay. If I open up my lab, so there is something called as automation docker over here. Okay. So what I do is, let's see, I have an IP address here. They're based out of Linux boxes. Okay. So let's give some IP first. So let's say I give it as 1.100 and I put it as 1.1 and I save this. Let's enable this, start, and let's go to console. I'll also open up the Cisco box. Let's assume that this is my Cisco box. Okay, so where is my Python? My Python is within this, the third party software. I told you the Cisco box is legacy box, which doesn't have Python pre-installed. Okay, so this is my Cisco box. So I'll try to uh, run a script. I might be configure VLAN or configure OSPF or taking show run configuration. I'm over here, okay, on this instance. So I just set one IP of 1.100. I'll set this as 1.1 and we will try to push our configuration. Okay, so let's take the console of this iOS device. So the good thing about network automation Docker is they come pre-installed with Python software. Okay, so if you want to see them, you can make use of this command. So you see they have 2.series, which is end of life. So we don't make use of 2 series nowadays. After Jan 2020, Python has sunset this version. So you will see the company nowadays upgrading from 2.7 to 3 dot series. Okay, how do I see that? So this is my latest version. So latest version is 3.9 something, but anything above 3.x is good. Okay, that's the latest version. Okay, fine. So we already have this Python installed with us. Okay, so over on this Cisco box, I need to do certain things. What are those certain things that I need to do? First thing is I'll set up IP address, because IP address is important, right? Otherwise, how do I say I am doing a script configuration on that particular device? What else do I need? I need telnet and SSH to be set up. I need a username and a password to be set up. Authentication is must for all the automation. Okay, so these are some important things which I needed so for my script to run. Okay, so if I do show run session VTY, by default they only have telnet. I will enable SSH also. Do we have a username? We have a username. Do we have an IP address? So we have an IP address. Okay, it's 101. So let's see if I have ping reachability to that. Okay, I have ping reachability. What about telnet? I also have telnet reachability. Okay, so we can from the Python software or the Python Docker, I can take a successful telnet. So I'm good with running my first script. Okay, so where is my first script? If I show you, this is my first script, and first script is an example from the first module, telnet library. As the name suggests, it's going to work on telnet protocol. Okay, not SSH. Telnet. I told you we have telnet or SSH on all the devices. First we will see telnet and then I will show you some example for SSH. So let's take this, copy this and place it here. How do I create a script? I go to, this is a Linux box, so I'll make use of the nano command. Let's say it's a telnet script 1 and it ends with py. Py is nothing but Python file. Okay, and I am going to paste it. So before I save this, I'll make sure I have changed my IP address. So this is 192.168.1.101. Username is admin and password is Cisco. Okay, what is what I want to achieve from the script? So that's important. So let's see what is the script talking about. So I'm talking about terminal length and showing taking the show run out of this IP. Okay, so this IP has to be changed. It's 192.168.1.101. Okay, and let's save this. Control Y. How do I see my script? I can go with cat command. These are all Linux command. Nano is to create, cat is to see that file content. Okay, so you can see this is my content of my script. So what does it say? So let's check it out on the PDF. What is the script talking about? So I'm relying on the Python module, which is called as telnet library. I'm defining my iOS IP and username password. I'm making use of telnet connection, telnet on so and so IP. This nothing but this. So in my lab, it is 192.168.1.101. Might be in your case, you might have different IP. Okay. And then what is my device going to prompt when I say telnet on this IP? What is my Cisco box is going to offer me? It's going to offer me username. Okay. What do I need to do? I need to write my username. That's nothing but admin. Okay, so I say write and I set user is nothing but this value. So I say admin, and then I'll make a enter on my keyboard. So enter is nothing but demonstrated by -n. It goes to the next prompt where my Cisco box is going to read out password. Okay, once you have password on your console on your display, what you're going to do? You are going to write your password, which is nothing but Cisco, and then you will type once again enter button, right? So now what do you think? You are successfully telnet established, right? This is a behavior. If I show you on a controller, okay, so let's say on this Docker, when I do a simple telnet, it's going to ask me username, which is admin. It's going to ask me password, which is Cisco. Okay, and then I have landed to the box. What do? I make use of enable, and then I come to the privilege mode. If I want to configure, I go to conf t. If I want to see the show run, how does show run works? If I do show run, I'm going to get, okay, so this worked. Otherwise, what is a normal thing? We normally make a use of terminal length 0, and then we put the show run command, right, to get the complete thing. So I'm doing just two commands here, terminal length and show run, and then I'm just reading out the output of show run on my screen. So this script is just very simple script. I'm doing a telnet on this particular IP. This is username and password that my Cisco box is going to read it. Then once I have my telnet connection successful, I'm going to execute two lines. One is terminal length and show run, and I am going to read that. So how do I run that script now? So to run the script, make use of Python 3 command. And what is your script name? Script name is telnet script1.py. So let's run this. Okay, so when I run this, it says that on line number 7, timeout second have passed. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put some execution timeout over here. Let's say line vty 0 to 4 execute timeout 0 to 4. Okay, so that I get a faster response. So let me once see my script. I hope it's not okay. So looks like there are some unwanted lines that's been copied. I'll just take out those things. Okay, so these lines are nothing but they are comment lines which I have added up so that it's easier to understand. Okay, so I'll just take out all these unwanted comments. I'll just keep the lines which are required for me to run the script. I'll take out those comments from here as well. So now it would look like very simple script. Okay. Okay. Now this has been minimized. So these are the actual lines which is part of my script. Whatever I had mentioned here, they are just for comment section in case you wanna read and understand what is this line going to do. So if you see this hash symbol, they are just a comment block. Okay, so they are not a part of script, they are just for hint, providing us the hint on like what exactly is happening. So let's rerun the script. Okay, so it says that UTF is not defined, so let's check what is wrong now. Okay, so the issue is, let's put up them in this inverted commas. Okay, so it has taken the telnet, but there's some issue now. Okay, so what is the issue? It went to terminal length and it said show run, and we got an issue. So we need to take care of enable now. So I'll go back to the script. I'll write one more line called as tn write, and now I'll define my enable. Okay, so first I'll say enable, then I'll say terminal length, and then I'll say show run. These \n are very important. If you miss them, you'll not probably go to next line. So basically you're going to the next line, right? So you have to set this \. So now let's run this. Okay, so there you go. With the help of Python, you have taken the show run on one of the device. If you had thousand of device, same script, you just have to write all the IP address of those device, and you have your show running with you. You can save this, you can send it to someone, you can email to the tag engineer, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so this is one basic script of taking the show run. Now let's go to the next script. Next script is about configuration. Okay, so we will keep the same thing. Let's keep the same script, but let's create a second variant of it. So how do I create? Let's say copy the script, telnet script to serial number 2. Okay, just because I don't want to manipulate my first script, let's keep the first variant as it is, and for the second variant, this is my script. Okay, and I'll just do necessary changes there. So what do you want to do now? So let's say you wanna configure something. Let's say you wanna configure some VLANs. Okay, so let's say you have entered the enable, then you go to the conf t \n. Okay, you're gonna configure loopback. Let's say that you wanna configure some loopback. Okay, loopback 101. You can set some IP address 1.1. Okay, not 1.1, because that's okay. I think I can use that. 255.255.255.0 \n. Okay, I think we can run this. So you have the script with you. You can go and configure anything. Or let me configure OSPF. Okay, so let's say network 0.0.0 area 0. Okay, so this script is about doing some configuration changes, and on this device, as I told you, you have thousands of devices. You write the IP address and get this going. Okay, so let's run this, but before running that, let's first validate on the device, because I don't want to do some script and just assume that we did that. Let's see that we have anything? We don't have anything for OSPF, right? Do we have anything for loopback? So we don't have anything for loopback, but this script is going to create that now. Okay, so let's run the second script. So how do I see? So I can see my script has taken up the console. It started configuring loopback. It has also taken the control on the VTY0. Okay, now let's check with the help of show run command. I see my OSPF is configured. I see my loopback is also configured. Okay, that's because of this script. So that's why Python is very important now, because you can do n number of day-to-day operations or building a data center from scratch. Okay, so this two scripts were example for telnet library. Now what I do is I'll go to Netmiko. That's the most popular module which we use in the industry, and they work on SSH. They don't work on telnet. You know that telnet is not a good option, right? So to have SSH, let's enable SSH. That's the prerequisite. So let's say transport input SSH. Okay, we can give a try if SSH is working or not. SSH. Okay, so it's -l admin 192.168.1.101. Okay, so it says bad owner or permission. Okay, might be I have put a wrong command. Okay, I can do a self test. Okay, how do I do a self test? By this command 192.168.30, sorry, not 32, 1.101. Okay, it says connection refused. The reason is SSH is not enabled. Okay, SSH is disabled. So we need to create some RSA modulus. So crypto key generate RSA modulus 1024. It says that I need to set some domain name. So let's set domain name. Okay, and let's generate RSA modulus. Now let's give a try by doing a self SSH, and it's working now. So password is Cisco. So it worked. Okay, so SSH is working now. Now let's give a try from my Python module, because that's important. Okay, so it says there's some issue with this. Let's see what do we have there. Okay, it's because of these encryption that's causing SSH mismatch. Okay, so I have a way to overcome this issue. That is the IDE softwares. Okay, so you might be knowing that there comes some softwares. If you're not very familiar with this Linux sorts of platform, you can also alternatively install these free softwares. Okay, so we call it as Python IDs. Okay, so it's called as Python IDE. So if you just make a simple Google search, you can see n number of Python IDs. There's something called as idle, PyCharm, Spider, Eclipse, Visual Studio. Okay, so I most of time use PyCharm for network automation. They are software based. In case if you do not need this sorts of console, you can make use of your PyCharm look like this, where you can have your modules inserted. Okay, so how do you install the modules? Go to file, go to settings, go to project interpreter, click on this plus symbol, look for the module. Let's say you are trying with Netmiko. Okay, and install the package. So they are very small kilobytes of package. So you have installed those packages. Okay, and once you have installed them, you're good to write your script. So let's say my script was this for Netmiko. I copy this and I place it here. Let me remove these unwanted things. Okay, so this is my Netmiko module. So what is it saying? I'm calling my Netmiko module. I'm calling my IP address, username, password, and what is my device type. Okay, so in this case it's going to be 1.101. And what do you need? You need to take the show IP int brief output and just print it and close the connection. Very simple script to take the show IP int brief. How do you run this? You just right click and you run the script. Okay, this will not work because the reason is this PyCharm is on my base machine and my devices are within the GNS. I can do one thing. I can have my Windows machine. Okay, let's say I have a Windows machine here. I can install PyCharm directly here and I can integrate. But since I'm having my GNS here and my PyCharm on my local machine, I need to make some provision. The best option would be put a NAT cloud adapter. If you put a NAT cloud adapter on your GNS, you are gonna get a DHCP IP. Let's say you get 192.168.32 dot some series, and now PyCharm is also on that series, and you have your device also running on that. Okay, so I can show you that. I wanted to show it directly on this lab itself so that you can practice on the same, but due to some negotiation issues, that's because of your uh, Linux box and the Cisco iOS box. There are a lot of things which you need to take care. You have to set this encryption, and you can fix this. I don't say you cannot fix, but this will be a wastage of our class time. Okay, which I don't want to do that. If you just try to Google this, you get the resolution for this. You can fix it and you can run the script the way I just showed it for the telnet script. Okay, you can straight away run without any addition. But let me make it very simple. Let me go to one of our different lab topology which is running on the NAT cloud. Okay, and I'll show you how this PyCharm and uh, we can integrate PyCharm and our GNS boxes. Basically, you can also do it on the same lab itself. Just add one NAT cloud and just get it going. Okay, so you have n number of approach. I'm giving you all the ideas. You can just use whichever you want to. Okay, a simple lab topology which I have. The good thing is they are already on a NAT cloud, so it's easier for me to demonstrate. Okay, so I will power on this box which is running on 32.200. I have my NAT cloud straight away connected to this box, and on the other end of this NAT cloud I have my PyCharm software. That's this one. So it becomes easier for me to test my code. I'm waiting for this box to come up, and we're good to run the script. Okay, so the IP will change here. It's going to be 32.200, which is my Cisco box IP. Username is admin and Cisco, and it says Cisco iOS type. I will run show IP int brief, and I'll take the output and close the connection. Okay, so the device is up. What is an IP of this device? Okay, 32.200. Do I have the reachability? Let's give a check with the help of CMD. So let's ping that. We have the reachability. Okay, do we have SSH reachability? Yes, we have it. Okay, so this is all integrated because of this NAT cloud which we have in the GNS. So GNS in my case is running on VMnet 8. So I have a IP from my local laptop DHCP, and on other side I have PyCharm. So basically they are getting integrated. So on the other side I have PyCharm, and on my GNS I have my Cisco box. So I can have my PyCharm getting integrated with Cisco box over on this NAT cloud. That's a GNS fundamental. I don't want to go in depth. Okay, you have n number of approaches here. This is one approach. The second approach was you can make use of the network automation Docker itself, which I showed you previously. Okay, so with the help of the Docker, which also I have it in this lab, I can show you here. Okay, that this is the one which I'm talking about. So if you have this Docker, you can straight away connect it. You don't need the NAT cloud. You don't need the PyCharm. You can write your script here and you can execute directly. Okay. So there are n number of solutions. These are few things which I'm uh, just letting you know for your information. Okay. So let's run the script. Where's my script? My script is here. Let's run this. So you have your output from the device. So you have all your output 32.200. Okay. So just 4 to 5 lines, and you just took the show IP input. If you have multiple devices, you can add 100 devices and you can get the output. Okay. So let's go to one more script in the same Netmiko. I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. Okay. So what do you have here? You have your Netmiko, you have your connect handler. Okay, so I'll take out all unwanted things. So you have your Netmiko being called. You're defining your Netmiko classes. So you say it's a device type. This is the device IP. This is the device username, password. This is the SSH port number. This is for enable and setting the verbose. If you don't have any enable, you can take this out. Okay, and this is a verbose, and you're setting up the SSH now. So you're saying SSH to this box. This is nothing but this one. Take out the unwanted comments once again. What do you need to do? You need to do the show run and save the output of show run inside variable output, and then print that. Okay, so let's run that. So you see it's taking SSH. What are you expected? You are expected show run. So you have the output of show run. Okay, so this is how automation in case of Netmiko works. Let's see what do we have next. So in the next, I have one more script which I'm going to discuss, which is NEPAM. So where does NEPAM stand? NEPAM is over here. Okay, so I'll show you one of the module or one of the script from NEPAM. So let's copy NEPAM and keep it here on my PyCharm. I'll delete all unnecessary things. So I'm saying I'm calling my NEPAM. This is my SSH establishment. This is in case I want enable. If I don't have enable, then I can take this out. Okay, so if I take that out, make sure I also take this out, because I don't have any enable with me. Okay, so this is my IP address, this is my username and password. I'm taking my SSH console up or open. SSH is getting opened here. I'm just sending my get tarp fact command, and I'm going to print that. Okay, so I'll just remove other things for now. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, I'm making a mistake. This should be within for loop. Okay, that's a Python syntax error. So when I end with colon, the next statement should start within for loop. If I keep it just below that, then print is not a line that's considered within for loop. Okay, so for to have that, I have to press a enter. So these are all uh, Python instructions. Okay, so this is not just like you're going to learn in 15% of your ENCODE topic. So let's run this. So you can see it's a customized command. Okay, get ARP table, and this is what you are receiving this on your screen. So you have your interface, you have your MAC address, your IP address, and the age of the ARP. Okay, now let's say you wanted to tune your output, so you can do that. So let's say you bring your JSON now. So we have read in our previous class what is JSON, right? So let's say we just introduce JSON now, so that we can improvise our output. So I call my variable dump 123. I make use of JSON. Okay, and then I'll okay, so for now I'll take this out. I don't need uh, this sorts of output. I don't need this output. It's not a human friendly. So let's rerun now. So you will see your output has been okay. So it says that JSON is not defined. So I have to define JSON. Okay, because I'm making use of a function JSON, but I had not defined it throughout my script. So I have taken care of that. Okay, so you can see now the output has been modified in a better way. Okay, this is the JSON format. If you just recall, we talked about the curly brackets, we talked about these commas, right? There's no comma on the last line. So this is a JSON format. It's more user friendly. Your Postman application, which we discussed in the previous class, it's going to give the output in JSON. Okay, so you can change a lot of content here. So let's say you wanna have intention of 10, and if you rerun, so you will see the spaces have modified now. Okay, so you can just change a lot of numbers things, so that you get a better output, or the output you are looking forward. Okay, so better would be keeping on 4 level 4. So this is in the case of NEPAM. So you know now that we did telnet library, we did Netmiko, we did NEPAM. So everyone is capable of doing the job, but they differ in their own way. Okay, here we introduced the JSON. We had the custom command get ARP table. In the case of Netmiko, it's a SSH. So NEPAM is also SSH. Okay, so Netmiko is SSH. It's a widely used module, whereas telnet is just for our uh, reference. Okay, we don't use telnet in the industry, but good from learning point of view. There are a couple of scripts you can give it a try, practice it. Okay, so there is one more network automation tool with us, which is called as Ansible. Okay, so Ansible is also built over on Python. So in the case of Python versus Ansible, Python is faster when compared with Ansible. Okay, Ansible is slower. Then why do you think Ansible is used? The reason is because Ansible is easier. They have the templating system. Okay, we can use it for dynamic option and from the future point of view. Okay, in case of Python, the scripts were written in a static way. That is nothing but you have your script written in this way. Now if there is a network engineer who doesn't know much about scripting, he has to do lot of changes on the script, right? Might be he will break the script. So in the case of Ansible, it becomes more easier because we have different files doing different functions. So let's say the file number 1 has all the configuration aspects. File number 2 will have all the host or the inventory aspect, all the devices like 1.1, 2.2. It can be in the second file. And finally, your script will be written under playbooks. Okay, so you can segregate the things here. You can also make use of a concept of templating. Okay, so Ansibles are written on YML. So in the case of Ansible, we write playbooks. Playbooks are nothing but task are nothing but if you want to do show run, show ipaint brief, we call it as task. So this is written in the language YML, which we discussed in the previous class. Okay, what is templating? Templating, we can do it with the help of Jinja 2. What is the use of templating? It's dynamic in nature. Okay, let's say I have a data center where I want to create VLAN 1, VLAN 2, VLAN 3. Now, it's not required that on the next data center also you create the same VLAN 1, 2, 3, right? You might have a different requirement. You might have 50, 51, 52. So, in the case of Ansible, it's easy to scale them. Okay, it's easy for you to make use of templating and just change the numbers. So you just have to change the numbers and the rest will remain the same. What happens in the Python script? In the Python script, you have to keep doing the changes every time. If you're going to data center 2, you have to do the changes. If you go to data center 3, you will make the changes, right? There's chances you will break the script in middle, right? So that's why Ansible is easier in terms of scalability or from dynamic option. So the three files in Ansible are host, ansible.configuration and playbook. This is the way we install it on the Linux box. Okay, so if you see in my diagram, so I have a Ubuntu server, so I'm running the Ansible instance here. So I have my Ansible. I also have Python here, but for Python I prefer using PyCharm. So my PyCharm is integrated with NAT and NAT is integrated with this box. So for Python testing, I use this approach, and for Ansible, I have it on my GNS itself. Okay, so they are in the same network 32.169 and this is 32.200. And within Ubuntu, I have installed the package for Ansible. It's just a two commands. So this is the command to install Ansible. Okay, we can test Ansible if it's installed or if it's not installed. Just go and open the Ubuntu box. So let's open the terminal. Okay. How do I check if Ansible is installed? Give this command. Okay. So this command is going to show us that Ansible is installed. So once you have Ansible installed, make sure you go towards this path. Okay. How do I go to that path? Just make use of cd etc Ansible. Now we are within that path. Okay. We can create our playbook. Before creating playbook, I'll show you the Ansible configuration file. I told you there are 3 files in Ansible. One is this one. What is the second file? Second file is my host file, which is also called as inventory file. And finally, the third file is called as my playbook, where I'm going to write my script. So let me show you file number 1. So this is the heart of the Ansible with lot of configuration like timeout, the other values and all, but we don't do any much changes here rather than just one single change. That's about SSH, okay, because Ansible works over SSH protocol, not on telnet. So what do I do is I just change one of the value. It's about SSH certificate. Let me try to grep it. Okay, so this is the change that I have done on this configuration file. So what I say is I don't want my SSH to check the certificates. I want my SSH to be checked on the basis of username and password. So that's the only one change. I set it as false for key checking because I want my username and password. Otherwise, you know what happened in the previous case. There was some negotiation between iOS and the Linux, and then I don't want my script to break, right? So even in the prediction, we disable that because we don't need key checking. We set it as SSH. Okay. What about the second file? Second file was the host file. So let me show you the host file. So this is how my host file is written. So all these are grayed out with the hash tagging. I have defined my Cisco box under this category. Okay, automation switch. I said it's 32.200. Its username is this and password is this. Okay, so this is nothing but it's an inventory file. In the case of Python, how it works within the script itself. That's what I said. When you have Python on one side and Ansible on other side, there are a lot of differences. In Python, you have to mention everything over on the script, but in the case of Ansible, you can keep multiple files to do multiple jobs. Okay, so host file is going to keep all the information of different IP. So you have one IP. Under this might be you have your distribution group with different IPs, if you have access with different IPs. Okay, regarding the playbooks, so I already have a lot of playbooks, but let me show you by creating one of the playbook. Okay, so let's say nano, and I say it as let's give a name to this. Okay, so let's say 07 playbook dot yml. This is a YML language. Okay, so I'll make use of YML extension. Where is my script? Let's take it from the PDF. So this is my playbook. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. Okay, so what is my script going to do? So my script is about calling this iOS box. I don't want any timestamp kind of job, so I'm just disabling the gather fact. We use this when I need the time, or if I need to know the server name or server fact. So basically this is a iOS box, okay, right? So I don't need any server kind of thing. Connection, I have local. Gather fact, I set keep it as network CLI. What is the task? Task is to run the show command, okay, and then I set my command. So these are not in format because while doing copy paste it has gone out of the order. Okay. So you see here I have defined my this is start of YML language, okay, with 3 hyphens. I defined my device group. I said it's a network CLI. I defined my task. Task is just to take the show I in brief, okay? That's all. Fine, so let's run this. How okay, I did a mistake. That is, I have not taken the root privilege, okay? I need to take a root privilege on my Linux to do the changes. So how do I take the root privilege? Just by sudo su. You might be knowing this command called as sudo su, and give the root privilege. Now you have your now you can do a write changes. Otherwise, without root you cannot do any write thing, or you cannot write something. Okay. Now let's copy this or paste this whatever we had, and let's save this. How do we run this? With the help of Ansible playbook syntax. If you remember, in the case of Python, we used Python 3. When I showed you PyCharm, it was just a right click and running this. In the case of Ansible, we make use of Ansible playbook and just the playbook, okay, and we will run this. So let's see if it works or no, or let's see what error we get. So we got some error. That's because of syntax issue. The syntax issue says that I have to make them below host, okay, something like this. So let's check once the PDF. So you see they are all beneath one after one. So be sure with your formatting, otherwise you will get issues, okay. Okay, let's give it a try. Okay, looks like it's working. It's running the playbooks, and you can see it has successfully executed. Now you might be wondering, you don't see any output, right? So to see the output, we can enable some verbose. Like in the case of Cisco box, we have the debug commands. When I enable debugs, I can see a lot of things that's happening in the background. Similar way, in the case of Ansible, I have verbose, so I can create some verbose, and you can see the output here. So what is the output of this Ansible? You can see the output for show IP in brief on this device. So these are the interfaces, okay, basically the show interface output. So this is how automation work in case of Ansible. So there is one more playbook which talks about taking show version and show IP int brief and saving the output in this variable, okay, called as output, and then read the content of output. So this is a right way of seeing the output on the terminal. But let's say if you have not used this approach, if you see here, you have not used the approach, right? But how did I get to see my output? That's because of adding this verbose. So we call this as verbose, okay. In case if you don't have these two lines, you can still watch the output. So this is how the difference between Python automation and Ansible automation. Ansible is a framework which is running over on Python, but there are different things in Ansible. The way of working is different in Ansible. This is very basic thing which I talked from the encore point, but there are a lot of things which Ansible can do. We can do templating, we can bring Jinja within this, okay, where you can write the template and get it doing. Template, you can do it for any features. Let's say if you want to create VLAN. Okay, what is the CLI command to configure VLAN? So let's say this is a command to create VLAN, but you don't need this, or you don't need always to be 100, right? So you can write a template in the sense you can say VLAN n, and you can say name as VLAN n or something, and then you can say n is anything between 100 to 150. So what does this mean? You're gonna create VLANs in this range. Okay, VLAN 100, then you will have the VLAN 101 VLAN. You just need to change this input numbers, and the template are as it is, and they are going to do the work. So you can create the template for DHCP, you can create the template for interface configuration, you can create the template for MPLS, you can do and create the template. Just your engineers will change the numbers and they are scalable. Okay, so that's how Ansible works differently than Python automation. Okay, so both have their own reasons to use. I don't say one is better than other. You can just take it in very simple option is talking about EIGRP versus OSPF. Both are IGP protocol. You will see a lot of organization using EIGRP or some organization using OSPF, right? Similar way, you will see a lot of organization using Python, or you will see a lot of organization making use of Ansible. So it's about how organization is going with. Okay, and yes, there is a PDF here which talks about the theory points. Okay, is it not getting open? Okay, might be I'll give you this separately. Okay, so this PDF has all the theory about Python, like what do you understand by variable, what do you understand by the print command, what do you understand by the different Python data types, which we talked previously, which is string, bytes, tuples, dictionary, boolean values. Okay, there are different things like Python casting, uh, Python for loops, Python while loops. Okay, Python else if. So all the theoretical topic from a basic to advanced point of view, which I'll give it separately on the web portal. Okay, I just added up here, but I'm not sure if it doesn't open within another PDF. Okay, so that ends the class for the day. Okay, so let me know if you have any doubt. Yeah, that's why I take a dedicated class for network automation, because it's not just about 10 to 15% from your Encore. Encore, frankly speaking, in Encore, you don't have any script uh, to be discussed. It was just a simple walkthrough on this topic, but just to let you know that how does they practically work, I covered few examples. Okay. Fine, guys. So, if there is no doubt, we are good with the class. We will meet up on Monday, the next class, with a new topic. Okay. So, have a nice day, and I'll pass on the video with the PDF. You can keep practicing. So stay safe, and we'll catch up soon. Okay, thank you everyone.